What's up, everyone? Shawn here with another Live to Roll, coming from you from a beautiful Joshua Tree this week. We'll get into some our intros. It is very much an open discussion today, Q&A. If you guys have anything that's bothering you that you want to ask us about, feel free to pop it in the chat and share. We'd love to hear. We'd love to do our best to give our feedback. And yeah, so I'm Shawn, C5, C6, quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 20 years ago now. 20 you
Bobby,
gentlemen.
Yeah,
Bobby?
I'll take it away. Yeah, no problem. I'm Bobby Rohan, C5, C6, quadriplegic, 20 or 30 some year, 35 years here in Southern California, enjoying the day. And it's not as hot where I'm at compared to where Shawn's at. So feeling very comfortable. But had a
you're,
great
you're
Memorial Day weekend and hope everybody did too. So take it away, Tommy boy, my friend.
your lucky ass is about 10 minutes away from the beach, so of course you're cooling
I know.
because Bobby never stops cooling. Uh, but yeah, make sure everyone's staying cool out there. It's one of the warmer days of the season so far. But yeah, I'm Tom Conaway, C6B quadriplegic, 26 going on 27 years, and yeah, ready for some quad talk today, baby.
Yeah,
Quad
so
talk.
get into some
And I'm
fun
ready
talk.
to hopefully not watch Shawn pass out from heat stroke live on the show.
I know. I
Yeah,
actually,
Sean, you've been our news for lately. First, it's almost a fall. Now you're about to die from heat stroke, and you almost died from UT or catheter change last week. So I mean,
it has been a
with
rough
us,
few
man.
weeks for the couple weeks. Yeah, I was going to make a comment last week too about not falling during the sponsors thanks, but I didn't want to jinx myself for like right after the show. But yeah, had some UTI issues or still dealing with a little bit of bladder issues. I'm actually going right now, also going to be going through a urologist transition. So when I get back, I have an appointment with a new urologist to try to remove and change this catheter because I'm too afraid to have the nurse do it and end up in the ER again. So I'm just going to try to do it in a controlled setting with the doctor, and hopefully I won't be in the emergency room for another show in a couple weeks.
So you've never tried it on your own, right, Sean?
Changing it
Changing
on
the
my
two.
me personally doing it,
Not
no. But
not you personally, but do you think
I
Leah
have.
and her skill?
Oh, I know Leah could do it for sure, and we've talked about doing it. And I think I am going to transition off of home health as well, and either start doing it at the doctor's office at least temporarily, and then transitioning into just having her help me. Um, but I have had other family members, um, or just even caregivers that had no actual nursing experience, like when it was kind of an emergency situation. I have had to have it changed. Even my brother at like 3:30 in the morning one time when I accidentally yanked it out, which was like really the emergency one. But like, uh, so I know that I know exactly the process. I know I can walk anybody through it that has no experience whatsoever through it. So like I am comfortable with that and confident with that. And even when I go have this doctor do it, I met the doctor. He was nice. He seemed cool. He had minimal but some familiarity with SCI, but he was very familiar with suprapubics, sediment, which is a lot of my issue right now, and changing them. Like so, hopefully it will go good and smooth and be a good transition.
Yeah, in some ways, I mean, Sean, I've done it where somebody's helped me for 35 years. I've never had it changed at the doctor's office. And one thing that's good about that is that I've always had uh, the same person changing it. Meaning, yeah, I have had other aides, but once that one person does it and they get used to it, it becomes a lot easier than maybe at a doctor's office where you're not on the right service exactly. So it's something for you and her to talk about. I don't know if you want her to do it, but um, it might free up some of your time, but also maybe during the times your anxiety and a comfortable spot and using a sterile technique. So maybe at one time I can, talk you what we do and think about it. Might be better for you and changing it, every 2 weeks. So
Well, that's also what the doctor I talked to the doctor about, and his suggestion was also to start doing every 2 weeks, um, because I typically do have a lot more AD in my third week for some reason. Like I just have a lot more discomfort every time I transfer. I'll get like an AD spike to where I even like will like my forehead will sweat. It's like it's not just a very mild one. It's like it's kind of intense sometimes. So I know that there's some issue, and I'm also going to look into, because I've been using the exact same latex catheters for
yeah,
almost the whole 20 years, because I I like 10 years ago tried to make a switch to silicone, and they were really rigid back then. Like the doctor said now that they are less rigid, and like they're kind of like a much softer pliable material. So I'm hoping that that will work, because last time with the rigid ones, I literally was in AD and pissing everywhere the whole time. Like just could like my bladder would just spasm and I was just peeing. Like some was getting to the bag, but not a lot. It was just literally everywhere it could escape. It was trying.
and do you try the hydrophilic catheter or not hydrophilic?
Silver tipped.
No, that's silver coat. Yeah,
I haven't got an opportunity to try those yet either. So I am, after this change, I am going to look into both of those different options to see if there's one. Because the other thing is, I've sized all the way up to a 24 French, which is big for sediment and stuff. And some of the catheters don't go that big, for like the silicone coated and stuff, I've been told. So I'll
yeah.
try to
I
find
don't
some.
think you're. Yeah, I tried silicone once too, Shawn, and same thing. Done. No, can't do it. So, but try hydrophil or the silver alloy. When I changed to that, it helped with UTIs, not sediment, but UTIs. And there is a catheter, according to Ryan Butcher, on the way for those who have a lot of sediment that helps it keeps it from getting clogged as much.
I think you had mentioned to me that before, mentioned that to me, and I will have to reach out to Ryan, because I know Ryan and he's nice, and I'm sure he would give me that information. So I will.
Yeah, yeah.
I can help you out, Shawn. I'll just spit on it, yank it out. There you go, baby.
No, first you lick,
That
first you put it in your mouth.
All right, that's cool as long as you put it in your mouth after you pull it out again. You gotta lick the tip of it after.
I I ain't afraid of germs, baby. It's all good. I wanted to shout out a couple
Or at
people
least blow
in
all
the
the
chat.
sediment out.
Okay, let's not get. I was making a joke, but we gotta get too graphic, all right? I wanted to shout out our buddy CP420. What up, Kev? Love you, man. Um, and what up, Leon? What up, Paul and Mickey and the rest of the crew? Thanks everybody for stopping by. Appreciate your love. Shout out to Kev. Give me a call yesterday from Kentucky. Check in and say what's up. Make sure I'm doing all right. Appreciate the love. Appreciate you, Kev. You're awesome, man. And yeah, what y'all want to talk about other than catheters?
I don't know what's going on with you, Tom. Catheter situation, okay? UTIs, any problems like that? Like
Life is problems, never ending.
life is,
Um,
yeah.
I I don't know. I can just start complaining. I'm really pissed off at my wheelchair company right now. I had a bunch of parts ordered, and I was supposed to get them installed like a week and a half ago. And they called me on the day of my appointment saying that they have to cancel and reschedule because my secondary insurance, Molina, whatever, my Medicare insurance, they added on. And because they added on my secondary insurance, that mandated them canceling my appointment and rescheduling me. And I just couldn't understand the logic of any of this. And it was really, really frustrating. And Nonetheless, I got everything rescheduled and it's supposed to be scheduled tomorrow. And I don't know. I could pander on about the shitty U.S. healthcare system, but we all know it. We all live it every day. I'm just doing my best to keep myself motivated and positive and not too angry or upset with the individuals that end up getting stuck with me on the phone and have to listen to me advocate for my ass for minutes and hours at a time, demanding that they provide me what I believe is my human right. Um, and I don't know, it's easier some days and less easy other days. Um, I have been on a shorter fuse lately just because I've been a little emotionally rattled and dealing with some depression and some other stuff. And the product of that is like I'm a little easier to rattle. Um, none, but despite all of that, I still have to manage my care. I still have to manage my wheelchair stuff. I still have to take care of myself and, you know, deal with all this bullshit. So I can't lose focus as to how to go about that in the most productive way, which is generally being civil as possible, being as positive as possible, and being as understanding and patient as possible. While it feels impossible to be understanding and patient in the midst of relying on wheelchair parts that are necessary or home health that's necessary and people not, you know, acting in accordance to what they should be doing, which is providing these services and not getting caught up on little small technicalities and bullshit and paperwork and whatever. But I'm navigating it every day, slowly but surely, with patience and with grace, and with as much optimism and positivity as I can muster. And I've been doing pretty good with it all. I have gotten a little upset a couple times on the phone with some people with my insurance because it's just fucking stupid how they operate and how the rules are and the cost that they don't understand, which is like my quality of life and my health and well-being. It's seems kind of silly, but I'm working it out. um I'm working it out.
Yeah, that's super frustrating, man. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people have to deal with that kind of stuff, insurance and so technicalities like that. That is really something that's frustrating, man. Hopefully they come out tomorrow. Everything is taken care of because that is not fun to
Yeah,
deal with.
my big thing that I'm dealing with is I've been transitioning a home health agency. So like my previous home health is no longer in my network. And they called me up and was like, "Yo, we can't help you out anymore, bro. You got to change." And I've been changing the two agencies that my insurance just assigned me. Both were like, "Sorry, we can't handle your case. We can't provide that kind of care, or we can't meet the days and the times in which you're requesting for your care." And now I'm on my third agency, and they're still like calling me the day of where I normally have like my care done in the morning, like bladder bowel care, shower, dress, get up, start the day. But it's like nurses are calling me at like 10 o'clock saying, "We can come and do your bowel care at 3 o'clock in the afternoon." Like when I'm, supposed to be out in the middle of my day, like doing my shit. And it's just, just stupid and just frustrating, but um, figuring it out.
Who's your primary?
Blue Shield.
Blue Shield.
But I have an HMO, which is like a blessing and a curse. It's like a
Yeah.
double-edged sword because, of course, like we can't, have something that just works and is easy. So my HMO is great and like what it covers. The coverage I get is above and beyond like it's good private healthcare, but it requires an authorization for everything. I mean, everything, any little thing. And that can be difficult, especially when you have a chronic condition and a lot of the services that I receive are not going away. They're continuous. They're forever services. And still, my doctors has to write authorizations every few weeks for a lot of these services. Meaning my home health. Anytime I need to get a wheelchair repair, it's like a fresh new authorization from my doctor and stuff. And um, the checks and the balances and all these parties working together and communicating, they just are shit at it, and they honestly make so little effort to do that. So it all falls on me, which is fine because I accept the responsibility, and I understand that I have to be instrumental in facilitating, coordinating my care, and doing all of this. But it's super frustrating, and it's super pain in the ass when I have to spend literally like tens of hours on the fucking phone talking to these people, and not just like one person but different people every time, having to explain my situation again and again and again, repeating myself over and over and over again, and doing this between not just my doctor's office, not just like my Blue Shield people, but also like my local healthcare group Optum, and then the home health agency, and then the wheelchair company. And after like so many times and so many phone calls and so much runaround, and you're still not getting what you need done in a timely manner, it's like, bro, what the fuck are we even doing here? Like, this is wild. This is frustrating. And it just is what it is. Y'all caught me on the afternoon where I've like been dealing with some of these phone calls and some of this bullshit. And like it's like fresh in my mind, and it's just like honestly been super, super frustrating. But like I said, I'm just grateful that I have the insurance and the services that I have. And despite it being shitty and painful, like, at least I'm also in a situation of opportunity where I can also advocate myself. I'm in the position to make the phone calls and spend the hours and do what I need to do. So what am I complaining about? Things could be better, but things could be way fucking worse too. So
Yeah,
perspective.
that's what. Just real quick from the chat. I don't know if uh, Kayjon's been here before from Oklahoma. Welcome. If you haven't, I'm not sure if I recognize
I
him,
don't
um,
I don't recognize her name or his name.
but yeah, I think they said they're trying to get probably me in a nursing home, and it's ridiculous, like insurance in Oklahoma. So I feel like it probably. I know California at least has a little bit better of insurance options and things like that for at least for maybe not private insurances and things. I'm not sure, but for the
Um,
I
but yo,
know
what up,
lately I've been
Oklahoma fam? Shout out to Oklahoma. Shout out all the Midwest fam. We love you guys so
yeah.
much. Want to get back out to the Midwest. And I don't mean to cut you off, Bobby, but I just have to address this comment real quick because he's
No,
right on, dude. This is literally a conversation I've had in the last like 6 or 8 weeks with more than one person, being home health agency, insurance agent, or otherwise, saying that, have you considered moving into a nursing care facility?
they've asked you that. Wow.
Yes. Yes, or not even ask me, but told me to consider it or ask if I have considered it, or because it is impossible to receive care if you want to live independently but still have a severe high level chronic condition that mandates a high level of care. It's freaking crazy. And anybody out there, I know not everybody has a choice, especially if you don't have a lot of support transitioning out of rehab in the hospital and you have no place to go. They put you in a skilled nursing facility. Anybody and everybody, if you can avoid it at all costs, avoid it at all costs. They are, I don't even know how to say this. It's like politically correct or like appropriate because I don't want to like doomsay or like paint a worse picture than it is. But a lot of those places, they kind of consign you to death. Like they don't allow you to go out. They don't provide meaningful services to allow you to maintain healthy activity. They don't even necessarily get you out of your bed more than once or twice a week, if that. And the result of that is losing your life much
Yeah.
sooner than you would otherwise.
Yeah.
And
Bed
that's just the
sores.
reality of the situation. So the fact that these healthcare institution workers even have the audacity to suggest that or imply that maybe it's something I should consider, it makes me fucking sick to my stomach. It makes me like almost want to cry. Like it's so frustrating and so saddening and so disgusting. It's crazy.
No, and I get the flip side of it is, where they're saying it because the services can be established a little bit easier in the sense here you are struggling just to get some help to your house from a health agency, right? So, but the problem with, what they're suggesting is like you understand like I'm not in that age category for one. Number two, your skilled nursing is not the skilled nursing
Not
of what
skilled.
my yeah, not skilled towards spinal cord, and they just that's the problem with a lot of times with a lot of individuals, not necessarily just SCI. It could be anywhere from cancer to that they don't live the life, so they have no all they're doing is typing something out on a computer screen is all they know. And so when they think about it, like, oh, just check yourself into that, it's like, do you understand what that entails? Like my mom is right now, been dealing at a nursing facility uh, for a month now. And one comment I was going to say is, being in there, people are like, oh, what room are you in? I'm like, no, I'm like I don't live here. I'm not here. I'm here to visit my mom. And they're like, oh, and it's like, what? Just because I'm in a chair means I'm here? No, that's not the case. And it's pretty good. Every time I've caught my mom over there, at least she's up and they're not that type of uh, like we all fear and that I've witnessed too, Tom, where they don't get you up except maybe once or twice a week. And, you know, that's the reality of getting stuck in one of those places, because you never know what type of care you're going to get. But they need if they want to put us in something like that, at least have it mandated right for the type of disability.
Well, you're right, and I mean I've been in live-in rehabs and places where they did do it right, where they have the right kind of trained, skilled caregivers to facilitate the necessary care. They get you up every day. You do therapy. You do outings. You like go places. You do things like it's like there are, and again, these are all mostly like rehabs that I'm talking about because I've yet to come across a sniff that does that. And I'm not even saying that they don't exist. Sniff being a skilled nursing care facility. Um, and I hope that they do, and I hope that there's better mandates for quality of care and therapy and keeping people active and going. But I know the reality is like very, very, very different. And Lee said it, like facilities are basically prisons, disabilities being criminalized, stripping us of our rights. And that's absolutely what I've experienced in every skilled nursing facility that I've encountered in Southern California at the very least. But I know that it can be done better. That's the crazy thing is like, I don't know. And again, not everywhere is like Rancho Los Amigos or like Casa Clina and stuff, but they have long term live in situations for individuals with disabilities to receive the kind of skilled care that they need in order to learn and set up like whatever that is outside of the facility, but also like they're receiving therapy, they're they're getting up every day, they're being incentivized to stay active and socialize and do all these things, and it's just crazy. But what's also really crazy to me, when I have the hardest time understanding is like I could absolutely go and live in a facility, but I don't want to. I have worked super, super hard my whole life to attain a certain level of independence and I believe that it's my human right if that is my choice as to how I want to live. Now, I am in a unique situation where I'm still a quadriplegic, where I still rely on managing my bladder and bowel through, like a system and a, care routine. And I still have complex healthcare needs that I have difficulty managing on myself, even though I've really worked hard to learn how to manage them on my own in a certain capacity. I have to balance it with some help and some care. Now, just be, just because I want to live independently and live kind of a different way, it's the system isn't set up to support individuals like myself. Like every person that I talk to and explain my situation to, it's like, oh well, we've never talked to a quadriplegic that's really in that situation before. Like, wait, what do you want now? It's like you want home health to provide in-home care how many days a week? Well, why aren't you in a facility? Why aren't you in a facility? Why aren't you in a facility? Because I don't want to be in a facility, people. Because it is my right. It is my choice as a human being to live how I choose and want to live, not in a way that's unfair, asking for, like it's even less services than what I would be receiving in a skilled nursing care facility, which the insurance would still pay for and provide. Yet I want less care in my home to live a different kind of way and a different lifestyle and try to be more independent. Yet it's not it's not an option. It's not something that's considered or known by the insurance. Like every disabled individual must be taken care of by their family, live at home, or be taken care of by a facility, which just isn't the reality. And I think it strips and robs so many disabled individuals of their potential to go out and live normal lives, more equitable lives. It's crazy.
No, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody should have the right to choose that. Unfortunately, I know for some people, like they may not have even like the option to live with family or like making their house accessible, things like that, or having like a place. So like some people unfortunately do end up getting stuck there. So if you do find art in something like that, uh, I'm not sure what the best route is, but I would say advocate for yourself, work on independence, and try to find other options if there are.
Well, and
Rely,
I know for it's pretty can be pretty frustrating, and especially for a lot of quads out there that's on that cusp line, that cusp of trying to gain our independence, but needing more help than the average lower quad or high para, where we get stuck in this line that I got it during for most of the time, but I need assistance in this way. And so it's that balance that we find that can be so frustrating where I need help and I don't need help, and I got my independence, but I don't have my full independence. And I know I struggle with that a lot. It's, where I know I don't have any hair left because I pulled it out going, I'm so close where I can do it, but not do it, of something, where whatever it may be of putting something together or you know uh, changing something or taking something new out of the box where it needs to be assembled, and it's like there was only all I need is a little bit of this to manage the screwdriver down in that area there, but and nope, I gotta wait, and it can get frustrating, um, when it comes to our care in that way.
and I just want to get the record straight too. Like, I know how lucky I am. I realize I'm grateful every day for all that I have and all that I've been able to do and all that I'm going to continue to do, the services that I receive, the insurance that I have, and everything. I know how lucky I am. I'm not ignorant of that fact, and I try to remember it, hold it in the forefront of my brain because I am very blessed and um, I work super hard. I think the system is broken and wrong and messed up, mostly for the individuals that don't have the ability to advocate or communicate the way that I can, because it is not an easy thing. It's actually a super, super difficult thing. And a lot of times I get really sad and frustrated and upset and want to give up too. And I don't, but I know a lot of other individuals just realistically don't have the energy or the ability to fight or advocate. And that's why the system needs to be right, is because just because someone doesn't have the ability to fight the system doesn't mean that they don't have a right to the services and the care, that they deserve. So I know I'm complaining a lot. I hope I'm not coming off as like, oh, Tom's just like throwing a pity party and complaining, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to have a conversation about how the system is broken, how the system is wrong, and you can certainly find a way to navigate it, but it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be. It really sucks that it is, because it ends up hurting a lot of people, and I mean, in reality, too, causing a lot of pain, causing a lot of injury, costing a lot of life, more than we can even understand or measure, and that breaks my heart, and that upsets me, and that frustrates me more than anything. So. Um, I appreciate you guys letting me vent a little bit in regards to like the stuff that's frustrating me, but the real reason I talk about it so passionately and vehemently and the way that I do is because I know that everyone else is going through the same shit, if not in the same exact way, in a very similar way. And I'm with you. I'm here with you. I feel you. And we're going to continue to talk about it and talk about the wrongness of it all until hopefully the right people hear, or we can have the conversation loud enough so that you know uh, checks and balances are put into place, regulatory agencies put into place to ensure that healthcare companies and insurance companies and stuff, the U.S. healthcare system is not allowed to take advantage of individuals just trying to live life. Because reality, that's what we're trying to do. Everyone deserves to live and live the way that they want to, and also receive whatever care they require. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Well, keep up the, keep it up and keep the fight. And obviously, those who speak up for themselves get a lot further than those who don't.
Yeah.
Also, rely on social workers and case managers. Something that I've been really leaning on with my um, healthcare group, which is like my local healthcare group that like is my mediary between me and my big insurance, Blue Shield. They like basically get me linked up with all the local providers and services that I need. They've been okay in being an advocate for me. Most of these insurance companies, healthcare groups, and even home health agencies and things like that, they do have social workers and case managers on staff that are their job is to be on your team, hopefully, and rely on them, lean on them. I mean, they get paid to advocate for you and help you understand the system and get you the services that you need. So when this is overwhelming and too much for you, have some people on your team too. Hopefully, that's what I've been trying to do and been semi-successful in doing. At least like with on the insurance side is getting some case managers and some social workers to help understand the unique nature of my situation and my case, and then advocate to the insurance people on my behalf. And if you, I don't know, at least I've been successful in getting them to recognize my needs, that I'm an actual person, a human being that, you know, is affected by this stuff. And sometimes them being on the inside, them working for the insurance company, they have an ability to communicate. They have an understanding of the rules and your services and stuff that you don't and could never really attain because you don't work for the insurance company. So some something to just consider if you find yourself navigating this. The social workers and the case managers that can be assigned to your specific case because you have a more complex need can be a big game changer.
So yeah, make sure to try to advocate for yourself, and if the person's not helping, move up the line. Like, find that right person that can help you, um, and yeah, uh, get out of one of those, or don't let them put you in one if if that's what you're trying to do. Um,
Yeah,
I was just gonna shout out to earlier, Spooky Sweetheart. Welcome again, and well,
yeah, new.
just venting. And then also, Quad Life asked about my background. Um, I'm actually in Joshua Tree right now at an Airbnb for um, almost 2 weeks we're staying. Well, now we're already a week through, so I'll be back. We're leaving next Tuesday before the show. So, uh,
Um,
and any,
shout out Mama Conway in the chat, who's writing some facts about the Medicare model and the healthcare system. My mom was my advocate for my whole life, ever since the day I was born, but especially after I was disabled, which is very early on in my life. My mom advocated and fought for me for forever and still does to this day. But now I'm an adult and I have to do a lot of the fighting and advocating for myself. But she helped teach me how important it is to understand my rights and fight for them, and give me a lot of tools to be able to do that. So I just want to shout you out, Mama. I love you so much. You're the best person in the whole wide world.
yes, Alice, thank you so much for helping and advocating and making sure Tom had everything when he was growing up. And
Yes, that's
Leah is calling me out in the chat for thinking this is my house and rolling around naked in the desert. So I have an outdoor shower here at this little place. It's literally right outside the bathroom door. And so instead of using the tub, I'm rolling out the door and showering on that patio in the outdoor. So
Nice.
shout out to having your balls out in the desert. Woo!
well. That's a mental image that none of us need.
You want me to
But
send
thank
you
you
a
for
picture,
that.
Tom?
No,
I'll get one
man,
from the
you
back
can
so you can see my view, just the back.
you can do that one for the OnlyFans or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I got a question for you, man. How are you managing the heat in the desert? As a desert veteran, I know how hard it is. I see you huffing and puffing and breathing a little heavy. And I know for me, like talking conversation, especially like extended, extemporaneous conversation, can really get me overheated. Just, I know it sounds simple, but sometimes like I'll just be on one talking and like kind of talking like I do, and if it's hot out, like next thing you know, 10 minutes later, I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to pass out and die. How are you feeling?
So that is for sure true. Doing literally anything in the heat is tiring. Like any energy you're expending. So what we've been doing the last couple of days is trying to get up early, get some breakfast, get out early, and then be kind of in by 10:30. Which by 10:30 it's like 85 already, and then in the sun. There's no shade really out. Not much shade like outside the house area where the patios are. And then trying to pretty much, there is a season here. Like yesterday, we actually got into bed in the middle of the day for a couple of hours, watched a movie, just relaxed with the AC and the ceiling fan, and then got back up, went out at night, for sunset, see the stars, and got out when it was cooler, and had like a little bit later of a night. So that's what we're probably doing the rest of this week, is kind of trying to break up the days, going out in the morning, going out in the evening, and then in the peak heat of the afternoon, just kind of hanging in. And the guy, it's a nice little Airbnb. There's no TV in the living room, but there's one in the bedroom, big TV, and he's got his like Amazon Prime and HBO Max and a bunch of stuff signed in that you can watch for free if you don't, and like a bunch of the Hulu and a bunch of stuff. So we're just using the smart TV, and it says it's all free to use, or for us to use. So just messing up
That,
his like watch suggestions for the future.
Um,
that's fun.
what
Start
do you
putting
do
on
if you do?
really crazy B movies or something. Just
What was
a
that,
ton
Tom?
of them.
What do you do if you do get overheated? What's your protocol?
So yeah, so what we've been doing a couple things. Leah actually bought me right before here a new little neck fan thing, but it's not the one with the little discs. It actually blows air all the way around and like up the back of my neck, up around my face. Seems to work good. We have water bottles. We do have my big spray bottle. Um, and then just really trying to make sure we're only going out into the sun for like shorter periods. Like this morning, we did like a little over a mile, um, just out on the like. It's basically a dirt trail, but the road because the road that this house is on is all dirt. So like we're like a few miles off of any pavement. So it's just all dirt roads, and I throw the freewheel on, and we're just cruising down the road, and then the dog's able to get and go explore into the desert a little bit. Um, or if we do around here, we'd be able to go out here, but again, limiting it to like an hour or like a mile out, like if we're going out and then coming back. Um, but yeah, we're just trying to make sure I have a lot of water, pour water on myself, use the fans. Um, we the first day tried to bring. Leah always tries to bring a little umbrella, like a sun umbrella, for some shade. But it was really windy, and it is kind of windy, which helps for the heating. So the wind is nice. Like if you can find the shade, it's like a constant, steady breeze the whole time out here, pretty much. Um, and then like for the dog, like got a little wet cloth on, like a bandana thing for him. I'm pretty much doing the same because me and him don't sweat. That's one thing quads and dogs have in common. If you guys aren't aware. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to have a lot of water. So if we need to pour it on me, we can. Trying to limit the distance. Um, and then,
And I was going to say that's probably the biggest trick for quads is like if you don't sweat, create sweat, that condensation effect is what cools you, just like the act of like water evaporating off of your skin. We've evolved so that our body delivers that water to our skin, but we can just as easily apply that water externally on our skin, which is to get that like evaporation effect. So get some cool air blowing on you too, because like the act of like that stuff evaporating off your skin will cool you down quick. My other trick that I like to do as a desert vet. My family lives in the desert too, and they live on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. And I've been visiting the desert for the last 30 years of my life. And I eat ice, get some crushed ice. I'll just chew on some ice cubes and get them into my belly as fast as possible. Cool me down from the inside out. And that's like kind of emergency heat mode. Like, yo, I'm overheated. I got to cool down quick. It's strip or get my shirt real wet, and get my skin as wet as possible. And then just start chowing on some ice. Chew it up, swallow the ice, get it in my belly, cooling me down from the inside out, and that usually does the trick.
no, that is actually a really good one to have ice in. Um, I should maybe even start putting a couple cubes into my bottle, but we always bring I have like the double insulated, nice, like bigger bottle. Um, Mine's the 40 ounce, I think, or no, 32. But we also have two 64-ounce ones that we bring, one for the dog, one for Leah. So we're making sure we are leaving the house with a lot of water, and uh, and it's cold water. So like same thing, like it's not an ice, which I think ice cubes in here might be a good idea for those emergency if we do get a little overheated out there. But that just the cold water, I'll usually take like a nice drink, hold it in my mouth for a little while, like drink it, and then like do that a second little time just to like swish the cold water around. It feels nice, a dry desert. Uh,
And Jay makes a really good point too. Be careful with all these methods because I'll swing really quick. Like I'll come home on a hot day in the valley, super overheated, feel like I'm gonna pass out and die from heat exhaustion. And I'll cool myself down. I'll be pouring ice water on my body. I'll be chugging cold water. I'll be eating ice. I'll be doing everything. And then 2.5 hours later, I'm like under a blanket, like freezing, shivering and stuff. And I don't think that's particularly healthy for you. Um, Understanding that you're going to be okay. gradually, cool yourself down in a way that doesn't necessarily put your body into shock either. For when you finally do cool down, you like swing so far the other way. Um, and yeah, like all of these methods and things, just proceed with caution. Do what feels right. If something feels wrong, don't drown yourself. Don't drink too much water to make yourself sick. Don't eat so much ice that you're, freezing yourself from the inside out either. But these are just things that can help in moderation to regulate your temperature more quickly when it does feel like you're overheating and you're going to pass out and die from heat exhaustion. Um, because it's not a good feeling and it comes on quick. Or at least it does for me. Like I'll be okay 1 minute, and literally like it's like a switch flips, and like the next minute I am not okay. Um, like I gotta cool down. I gotta get out of the heat. I gotta do this right now, like right now. And it can just feel very scary and kind of intense in the moment like that. So the best is to avoid it entirely by really being prepared and doing all the things that Shawn mentioned. Have a good fan, bring a lot of water, keep yourself cool before you get overheated. So, you know, be putting a little water around your neck or whatever while you're still semi regulated and you feel yourself getting warm, to not let yourself get to that extreme point. And know your environment too. Know that, like, hey, if I got to get home quick, I'm good. Like we were talking about it right before the show. 5 minutes in 95 plus degree heat, that can be enough to fuck you up. And
Yeah,
when
direct
I have to
sunlight.
leave,
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, when I have to leave, no, you're good. I'm just rambling on, dude. Just cut me off. I never shut up on here. Um, but I try to just plan out like my where I'm gonna go. Like I take the bus when it's 100 plus here in the valley. Like I know it's a 5 minute roll to the bus stop, and I can't sit out there for more than 5 or 10 minutes before I'm too overheated to even get on the bus and continue on my journey. So I have to plan it. I know that if I can get to the AC in that shaded bus, I'm good. And then once I get to where I'm going, how far is it until I'm at my destination? Is the destination I'm getting at cool? Is it inside? Does it have AC? If it's not, if it's outside at a park because that's the hang that day, then what am I going to do to stay regulated? Well, I'm going to get to shade as quick as I can. I'm going to have some water with me. I'm going to have like a towel I can get wet, wrap around my neck. I'm going to do all the things that I can. And also, I'm going to get myself cold before I leave. I'm going to be sitting here just chilling with the AC in the room until I'm shivering, to buy myself as much time when I do go out in that heat before I warm up and get too hot. Um, so yeah,
No, that's good advice,
just be
dude.
prepared.
Being prepared is definitely the number one thing. And if you are trying to take a trip out here to the desert like this, I would say for sure make sure you pack accordingly. Like you don't want to count on like the finding whatever you're gonna need out here, whether that's water or cooling devices or anything. Make sure you're coming prepared. Luckily, like we looked up here, 20 minutes away is a Walmart from here, so we've been able to go get like food orders, have water here. Plus, we have a fridge with a little water filter and all that. So we're trying to stay hydrated and healthy out here. But make sure you are being prepared is number one uh, thing. So definitely keep that in mind.
Um, Sean Kelly in the chat. I use a Rojo hybrid. So it's half air, half foam. It's like one of their newer cushions. The front is kind of contoured to like my butt and my legs, and the contours kind of help keep my legs in a more like guided seating position, and also keep my butt in a more stable place. But where the coccyx and the ischias, like my butt bones are, they it's all air. It's all like air bubbles. So it's half foam, half air. The contoured foam kind of helps guide my legs and guide my butt to keep my positioning right. And then the air cushion part is to just keep the pressure good on those really sensitive areas. Those like the tailbone and the two butt bones, namely, are like the biggest trouble areas. and that's what I use. What do you guys use?
That's exactly what I use too. The hybrid style cushion. I have the Rojo air cells under my butt vein area, but the front of the cushion is foam. And same thing. Is yours the Rojo hybrid? Is like the new hybrid one that came out, Tom? A couple years
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I think we have the same one then, because it has those little contoured things for your legs, and it's a nice
yeah.
cushion. I got it like a year ago after using Rojo's older next, like called the Nexus Spirit, which was their hybrid before this one. And I was a little bit afraid to switch after 15 years of the same cushion, but this cushion is awesome, and it actually even seems to be better for my butt and getting any red marks through the day or anything. Bobby,
The
Uh,
one question I would have for you, Sean Kelly, is there a reason why you're trying so many other cushions? Like, are you having um, any skin issues? Because you know, a lot of times I tell people, if you're used to a certain cushion and it works and you're, not having any of those skin issues, definitely there's no reason to switch other than maybe like you said, Sean, they weren't making that spirit anymore. So you kind of did a switch, but not too far of a switch. So if, let me know about that, Sean. I wouldn't mind knowing if there's a reason behind it. Donald had IV bars. Has anyone ever tried IV bars? I've tried liquid IV, but haven't heard of IV bars.
I think it's
are
like
you
literally
talking
going in and getting an IV in your arm and a bag of water. I believe they do have something
Oh
like
yeah, one
that.
of those.
Like you can go voluntarily, just do it
Yeah,
and pay for it
yeah. They're
as a
it's
service.
like $150. Yeah, it's the true meaning of those are really called the banana boat or banana uh, because
banana bag?
banana bag because they put the vitamin B in there for a hangover bag. So, which I've gotten a few times, but really more not because of dehydration, more because of my sodium. So, for a year, I was doing it like once a month, and it helped with bringing up my sodium.
I ain't paying
And
nobody to
Sean, I
come stick it in my arm
what
unless
that?
I say I ain't paying nobody to come stick a needle in my arm unless it's absolutely medically necessary.
And now,
I would. That's just. And again, I'm not knocking you if that's what you decide to do, because it's certainly one way to get hydrated, but not how nature intended us to get hydrated. So I'd say probably best to stick with that. And then we had another question from AYFTB. AFTB. Sorry if I'm getting your name weird wrong. Or how often do you guys get AD? But not mild AD. I'm talking about the throbbing headache kind. More often than I wish I did.
it's
A couple weeks ago, I woke up. I was visiting home. I woke up in the middle of the night, full bladder, had to pee. And normally I'll wake up before I'm the AD, but I must have been on a nice edible or like just really tired because I didn't wake up until I was like head throbbing, super extreme AD, super scary feeling. Woke up. I just hate waking up like that because it's like panic mode. It's like really intense pain, really intense pressure, kind of disorientation, and um, I got up and I peed 900,000 cc's and laid my ass back to bed. But I'd say I can sometimes make a couple months without it. It's usually my bladder that triggers it. Usually I just put myself in a situation where I'll drink too much and not cath soon enough, or that'll be a situation where like I don't have a bag at night or anything, so I have to intermittent cath. Usually I'm fine until the morning, but sometimes I'd be thirsty at night and I drink way too much without realizing it, and then I wake up and I'm already AD, and I'll be like AD sensitive for a few days after that. So even mild AD triggers, like my head will flare up, like I'll kind of feel that pounding, intense pressure, and it usually takes a few days for it to go away. Um,
that's AD
So
sensitive. I've heard that before. I never like, but that definitely happens to me too. And I never really had thought about like it being because of that first initial one. But yeah,
yeah,
so,
and that's been my experience, and it's kind of reaffirming to know that you experienced that too. Because once I have one bad session at AD, even just like mild AD will make it feel like I have more severe AD, and I don't know what that is or why that happens or the exact cause of it, but that's been my experience. So always best to avoid it if you can. If you're getting regular severe AD where your head's pounding and you're getting extremely hypertensive and it's dangerous, you gotta try to get it figured out. If your bladder is super sensitive or if your bowel care is triggering it, whatever it is, gotta try to diagnose that and figure out a way to manage that without it triggering. Because I don't know, what you're feeling is really intense pressure in your head because your BP is spiking and the blood vessels in our brains are super tiny and they can't handle super extreme pressure like that. And when you're feeling that extreme pain and kind of that scared feeling and that intense pressure, you're at risk for a stroke. All it takes is one blood vessel bursting in your brain and it can cause some really, really serious complications that can much further debilitate you or disable you. So if it's happening very frequently, I always feel like if you're getting extreme cases within a few days of each other, because you're already so sensitive, you're already like AD sensitive, like we described. I feel like it's even scarier because it comes on more quickly and more intensely than before. And I don't know if that correlates to risk with like stroke and stuff, but it certainly feels like it could. Again, I'm not a doctor. I would just highly encourage you to speak to your doctor or your physiatrist about it, um, because it's a very serious symptom. It can be extremely dangerous. And again, I am not a doctor, but this is something that I do and I keep on hand, which is a single dose of nitroglycerin, which is a vasodilator. It's a pill that you put on your tongue and it brings your BP down. Now, the rule with this medication is if I'm taking it, I got to be calling 911 because my AD is so extreme that I feel like I'm at risk of having a stroke and not being able to communicate or take care of myself and potentially dying. So the idea with the nitroglycerin is if I can administer the dose myself before the EMT gets here, I get to the hospital. Nitro paste, it's the same exact thing, except it's applied topically instead of under the tongue. But it can buy you some time, meaning it can lower your blood pressure enough until you're able to get the help to treat the symptom that's causing the AD in the first place. For me, I haven't been able to cath because I had a false path or an issue like whatever, being able to get the catheter inside. And my bladder was so full and I couldn't pee. I had to go to the ER and I thought I was going to die from AD. And that's what they gave me was nitroglycerin, which is the same stuff that they put in dynamite, just FYI. Chemistry is so fucking cool. But it acts as a vasodilator in very, very small doses. It dissolves into your bloodstream. And that vasodilation just opens up your blood vessels, allows the blood to flow a little bit easier, and lowers your blood pressure. But it can lower it so extremely that you could pass out and not operate in a similar capacity on the other extreme end and still have the AD symptoms going on. So the idea is use that can be like a means to just help getting you to the ER, getting you to the hospital,
yeah,
buying you some time.
yeah, it can be serious for sure. You definitely, if it's spiking like that, you got to get yourself to the hospital. And I was gonna say too, I don't know if you get this too, or if T, FTB as well. Not only the like AD sensitivity where you're getting AD like a lot easier, I also get really what feel like extreme lows in that time. Like it feels like I'm fluctuating massively sometimes. Like I will get so low to where I'm like almost blacking out, passing out, and then literally 5-10 minutes later, I'm starting a AD spike again, which makes it hard for. I've never actually tried nitro or any of those because I still get those huge drops, and I don't know how to manage it.
Yeah, the blood pressure game is a tricky one to learn and understand. It's really truly about learning and understanding your body too. Learning what the symptoms feel like early on so you don't get to an extreme point. Similar with the blood pressure drop offs. Like, I don't know, I've had some blood pressure lows that, man, are wild. Like, I feel so weak. I feel like, I mean, literally, like, I'll slump over because I feel like I don't have the energy to hold my head up. I'll, like, be so low from, like, my blood pressure dropping. And that's a whole nother bag. It's chugging water that can help bring your blood pressure up semi quickly. Eating food, moving around, getting your blood flowing and stuff. But it can be very extreme and really hard to do those things when you are experiencing low blood pressure. And it's even more common for women with SCI, especially quadriplegics. Women or quadriplegics, they struggle with low blood pressure, like chronically low blood pressure. Sometimes it require medication on that end of the spectrum, meaning like a vasoconstrictor to help increase your blood pressure. So stuff to talk to your doctors about, particularly your physiatrist, not so much your PC, your primary care, because they will have no idea what you're talking about. Or at best case, they'll listen to everything you say and take your guidance and education as fact, but it's really in your best interest to talk to an SCI specialist that can help you understand the nuances a little bit more and come up with a game plan to manage all that. Yo, what's up, Eric? Trainer, new here. C5, C6 quadriplegic for 18 years. Shout out. Well, welcome to the Quad Squad, my dude. We're all basically in the same boat, C5, 6, for the last 20 plus years, all three of us. So you're in good company, my dude, and we really appreciate you stopping by and saying hey. And I just want to shout out someone who I love very much. Is a very good friend, Miss Black Olive. She's sitting here. She says it's funny. She's watching the video, reading the comments on eternal hold with insurance and doctor's offices. Feel you, girl. Feel you, dude. Like, oh, man, it's too real. But sending you a lot of strength and love and positive energy so that you can direct that energy towards whoever you're talking to and hopefully get whatever you need taken care of.
Yeah, no, thanks for all the support, Black Olive too. You're always super awesome and
Shout out our
support.
friend Juan Elizarez. Beans
Yeah,
Squirty. Haven't seen you
yeah.
in a while. Beans Squirty. Great to see you. And yeah,
And then we had one
great to
question
see
back here.
everybody.
Also, before we wrap up, real quick, if you guys want to do a quick answer, I know we all have like, different things for different reasons, but Jay asked if we've done work since becoming quads, or what we've been able to do for work. Um, as come from becoming quads, and uh,
Yeah, I did
yeah, Bobby has
30
the
years.
most for sure experience of.
30
I, I
years
strip
of
I strip on the weekends. I'm an OnlyFans model, and I escort sometimes for really
Sometimes.
high end clientele. Seems to work out for me. It's kind of a niche audience, but they pay well. So, hey.
That's it. You got to find somebody that wants to pay you to help you with your bowel care, bro. One of those
Uh,
DTs out here.
But more seriously, Bobby has probably a better, more meaningful answer to give. Bobby has a lot of work experience over the last 20 plus years as a quad, right?
30. Yeah, I worked 30 years and
30.
I just retired last year in October.
So yeah, it is possible you can work. Dealing with insurance and stuff is just what you'll have to try to figure out. how much money you'll need to make,
Um,
how good the insurance is there.
I
Yeah.
would really highly encourage you to um, give yourself some confidence and give yourself some props and some justifications as to like how you'd be a very meaningful asset for whatever company you end up working at. The beautiful thing about being a quadriplegic or having any kind of disability is our ability to problem solve, our ability to learn and navigate non-traditional or non-standard situations. I found that like the application of that in the workforce, I think, is very, very highly underestimated and can make you a very um, solid and qualified candidate in compared to maybe someone who's able-bodied. Seriously, like you might even be more prepared and more qualified in many different ways than and your able-bodied counterpart going for the same position. Most jobs, I'd say, are more than willing and able to accommodate you. One, they're legally mandated to because it's illegal to discriminate against disabled individuals in the workplace. And there are laws in place to protect that. So if you do face any discrimination, even if you feel like it, would consider talking to a lawyer or, whatever you can to ensure that they're held accountable, and that's not the case for you. Jobs are forced to, not forced, but mandated to provide whatever necessary accommodations, be it a desk that you can roll up to that's a reasonable height, opportunity to work remotely or from home is easier nowadays, easier now more than ever to set up an environment in a space that you can immediately get up, go into and access and work from home. Um, and I don't know, anything and everything you can imagine, I think, outside of like physical labor and like contracting work, like be it like building houses or plumbing or maybe like electrician or something like that. You might have to navigate away from those types of jobs, but any kind of job otherwise that I can imagine outside of like extreme athlete.
Hey, but
You,
even then, you get into WCMX if you got function, you get into some other downhill skiing, all kinds of cool stuff. But
Wheelchair racing. There's a few people, wheelchair tennis, some of the high, obviously professionals are making a little bit of dough. Most of it, I mean, a lot of athletes make money more off their sponsorship than they do, off competitions, and that's able body or disabled. When you're not like thinking of those high end contracts you see for baseball, basketball players.
yeah, but yeah, so there's lots of options. Check it out. I know we have actually, I think, talked about employment once or twice. So if you want to look for some past shows, go for it. And another good show topic we can try to hit again coming up soon.
larger corporations too, bigger businesses, they have mandates to hire a certain percentage of their employees and have them be disabled. So you might even have a better opportunity of getting hired at like a larger corporation because they're trying to meet certain quotas and standards to make sure that they're covering their bases of providing equal opportunity for everybody who does apply. But I just know, for instance, like Wells Fargo, big banks, larger like stores, corporations, big businesses like Walmart, stuff like that. They have initiatives and like have quotas that they meet for like hiring a certain number of disabled employees. Um, so, you know, flip the script.
Yeah,
It's to your advantage maybe over a lot of other people applying in this really competitive job market because there's already a percentage um, cut out meant for individuals with disabilities. So,
and
um,
speaking
yeah,
of businesses that hire disabled individuals, let's shout out our sponsors. Because
Mhm.
Dean, our friend, quadriplegic, does work and help out a lot with the company and doing everything. So check out our sponsors. Mobility Professionals. Mobility Professionals is a local DME here in Southern California. So if you're in the Southern California area looking for a wheelchair, standing frame, commode, anything like that, please give them a call. Information is down in the description below. They can help you out. And then, Tom, you want to do Urology Pros? Hopefully, I'll stay
Sure
recorded.
thing. Everyone's got to pee, even if you're disabled. Um, just turns out you got to go about a little bit of a process in order to make that happen. But it's very possible and very easy to manage if you have the right tools and equipment and supplies. Urology professionals can help you out in that regard. Anything and everything, catheter supply, urological supply related, they can get it to you regularly, on time, in a quantity that suits you and allows you to not have to worry about your supplies. They'll help you figure out the insurance side of things, the atrocious U.S. healthcare system, and just do some of the work navigating that side of it to make it as simple and easy as possible to get you what you need. They are national too, so anywhere in the U.S., if you find yourself in need of regular urological supplies and you either don't have it or you're struggling with your current provider, give them a call. Can't hurt, and promise you won't regret it. Um, I did want to touch on one thing too. Walk and roll live disability stories. I started the process of ordering a new wheelchair 4 months ago. Is that typical? I wish it wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's getting pretty typical, and depending on your insurance and justification, and then um, and it's also depending on sometimes if you're going custom too, that sometimes takes a long time. Um, but if you're going through a big company, we all know the backstory of Tom talking about New Motion. So if it's New Motion, it seems like that is definitely been the case of what I hear from more people than not. And um, but yeah, it's starting to go that way. That it used to be, and so part of working all those years, I did wheelchair sales for 6 or 7 years of it, and back then it was 3 months. I would always tell people 3 months. By the time I can get, your letter of justification submitted, waiting for the insurance, and then sometimes ordering, getting into your shop, put together, and then getting an appointment to get it out. I always just told people 3 months. So, yeah, I can see in this day and age that it takes longer for like 4 months.
I
Um,
think up to 6 months is what I've heard from sometimes, but
yeah, yeah,
unfortunately, but
and
just make sure to
and
keep advocating, calling. But
yeah, and the frustrating thing about it is, there's two sides of it too. Make sure that you start the process early if you can. And I know the frustrating part is if you don't have enough justification, meaning your chair's not broken down enough, then they're not going to approve it. Unless it's like in that 10-year range. Every insurance company is different if they'll pay for it every 5 years, 7 years. I forget what, each company, it seems like it's different that I hear. But always start that process early because in case it does take that 6 month process,
yeah,
start working on it. Start talking with your doctor that I'm going to need to get this justification. Start setting up an appointment with a seating clinic. And sometimes just because um, you can go early, it doesn't mean you have to take it to a company and submit it. You can get that process taken care of and know what you want. And then when it's time for a new chair, then you can submit everything together and hopefully that speeds up the process.
yeah. So hopefully that helps,
um,
and try to reach out. Insurance is just hard to deal with. That's what we've been talking about. Um, just advocate for yourself. Try to do your best to go keep things moving.
Reach
And
out to your DME company, whoever's doing your wheelchair, and ask for dates. It's okay to ask for dates. Like if they tell you, like 4 months or whatever, you're like, okay, is there a specific date that's like a deadline we're working with you or something? Sometimes that can also like just remind them, incentivize them that like you're a human being that relies on this mobility aid to survive and function independently and at all in this world that we live in and how important that is. The other thing that I've found that is super helpful is having a good relationship with the ATP, the Adaptive Technology person, whatever that acronym stands for. But it's the individual that helps size you up and set you up in your chair. I've been fortunate recently to have a good ATP that I can reach out to and communicate with. And it's kind of the liaison between me and the wheelchair company. So rather than like calling some random call center person that's going to have no idea what we're talking about, any kind of timeline, nor any authority to even change anything, I'll reach out to my ATP and say, hey, what's going on with my chair? Is there a date? Is there a deadline? If I am struggling in my current equipment, let them know that. Be like, hey, I'm having a really hard time. This is affecting my, you know, body in ways that might even affect my new wheelchair, and how important it is to get this in a meaningful, timely manner to in order like to ensure that my body stays healthy and good and I stay independent and functional. And yes, it sucks. You gotta bug people, but hey, it's their job to get bugged by you. So it's your job to bug them.
Mhm.
that's right. And feel free to reach out to us or others in the community if you do need help or anything like that. Um, so just it is a hard process. Just make sure to stay stay on top of stuff. But
And let's
I
send
flashed.
some love to Jay. J319, he said C56 for 2 years in. We've got a lot of homies on here saying 20 years plus, 35 years plus. We're all kind of been in the boat for a long time, dude. I just wanted to say a big shout out to Jay. It's a tough spot. It's a huge milestone 2 years in. Things can still be really hard. Things can still feel really slow and frustrating and difficult sometimes. But I really appreciate you being here. I hope some of what we talked about wasn't, you know, disheartening, but more empowering and motivating and hopeful. I really, really hope that that's the case because that's what we're really trying to spread here. And also, just sending you lots of love, dude. It's a really crazy spot to be in 2 years post, but we're sending you lots of love and support and hope that you're doing good. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, it's always hard in the beginning. So if you do need anything, feel free to reach out. Keep popping into the chat, ask questions. Um, and if you do, even if it's off topic, you can ask anything. We can try to answer it. Thank
Shout out
you,
to Olivia for the
Black
$20
Olive.
super
Thank
chat.
you. $20 super chat at the end. Thank you, Black Olive. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you guys watching and checking out. I tried to flash up all the shows already, but I got to get going. It's getting warm. We got to get some food here. And I am on my vacation.
Come on, I was
So,
thinking we could keep the
guys,
quadcast going for the next 2 or 3 hours, bro. Let's
I'm
keep
out,
the
bro.
questions
So,
going. We
all
got
right,
like 10
guys.
people in here watching.